Welcome to episode 144 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is here. How you doing, Warren?
Hey, doing good. Survived the Facebook outage of 2021.
It was like apocalyptic Facebook outage.
Everything like because you don't realize how much is actually tied to Facebook until it goes down. Like I was in the middle of like a Oculus VR game, and the whole thing just went kaplooey. And then I tried to get on Facebook, that rebooted my router, probably like everybody else in the world. I switched Wi-Fi's, and yeah, it was a fun hour. But I think it's back.
Better than all the private information that everybody was. We won't talk about that, but that 500 billion accounts that were compromised and people got. But I have little commenting on that at this point. I mean, we could go into both directions of it, but I'm not even going to do that. Yeah. So I did mention at the end of last show that I was supposed to have my car. It didn't arrive. A little bit of a delay here. I'm using Carvana, so they had a bit of a delay of shipping from Arizona up to Illinois. So I'm going to have it next week finally. Then hopefully I'll get a week under my belt so I can give everybody a review of my view of CarPlay, because everybody's had it for quite a while. Well, it's gonna be new to me, so you'll hear something and I'll tell everybody about it. So, but let's get to the news. We got lots of news stories, and we're gonna talk about beta. Of course, beta 7 just came out yesterday as we record, and you actually dabbled into some NFC tags. So we're gonna ask you about that, how that went with your Tesla, and lots of other fun stuff here. So let's just go ahead and jump into things here. First story: Mac rumors. Apple adjusts trade-in value of iPad Pro, iPhone 11, and select Mac models. Apple has adjusted the trade-in values of a number of its products, including the majority of the iPad and Mac lineup, and made some changes to the iPhone. Apple's trade-in program allows customers to trade in older devices, which I do, and receive a certain amount of value for them towards the purchase of a new device. The exact trade-in value is measured by its condition, when it was released, its manufacturer, all that fun stuff. So looks like they've done some good increases here. So in the iPad lineup, the iPad Pro the value went up $45 to $580. The standard iPad trading value went down, so like $15 to $235. Not too much about the Mac, but then the iPhone, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is at $515 now, which went up $15, and the 11 at $465 went up $5, and then the 11 that was 11 Pro, and then the 11 it was $20 to $380. Even the 6S, they're still giving you money, $60. I know my family member traded in her iPhone 8, and they gave her $120 for it. So I think Apple's been pretty generous with trade-ins. So what do you think? I think this is really a good thing. Keeps the values. And we'll have some other stories about this, but
yeah, I mean, like we always say, it's the least effort to do the trade-in with Apple. That's like the easiest route.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get decent money for it, but not great. The hardest is selling on your own, which is there's plenty of options. Some work well, some are horrible, but it's work. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping soon I'll have a reason to trade in my iPad Pro for something newer.
I'm open too. Yeah, we'll hit upon that topic in just a bit here, but yeah, good to see. It is really good to see that the value is holding its own here for them. I'll take out order. We'll have it in the show notes here. And you go back, and if you recall, Gazelle decided to stop their trade-in program, which I was surprised. I used Gazelle many years ago, as you just talked about. That they were a great service, allowed you to trade in your technology devices, mostly iPhones, iPads. They took Android and others. But back in February, they decided to end their device trade-in program, which I was surprised. Actually, they announced this back in December of 2020. But they reversed course. As of April 5th, Gazelle is once again accepting online trades for smartphones and tablets. Apparently, they had a change of hearts, realizing that maybe there is some money to be made in this business. So, and have you used Gazelle before? I have.
I think I've sold a few things to them, and then I basically shop around for the best place that will take it. This is what I normally go through. I usually shop around for the best place that will take it, never sell it, and then post something on Facebook and sell it to somebody on Facebook. But
right.
Gazelle it's funny. They said we listen to our customers and they want us to do this again. So that's what we're doing. They obviously need manpower to take the devices in and check them, refurbish them to resell them. So that costs money there. The goal is to make a profit. So you want to, buy low, sell high. So that's, what they're trying to do. So they're trying to get your devices and, there's a lot of people there, and believe me, I know there's a lot of people there that will trade in, a perfectly good device that has one little problem that they don't know how to fix, and they'll just say, I'm just going to trade it in. They'll get this low ball offer, and they'll be okay with it, and because they'll fix it up to something nice, and they'll sell it.
They resell it, right?
So it's good. We used to have a store here called Computer Exchange. That was great, where you could actually go with your devices and they would buy it right on the spot. And they would give you credit for something else or give you money. But that didn't last. But Gazelle still has these lockers where you could put your phone in and they will still take them that way as well.
Yep. No, it's so good news. Good to hear that they keep it competitive. So, we're going to talk about beta here in just a minute, but I wanted to talk about the Apple TV here a little bit on Mac Rumors. Upcoming Apple TV could support 120 hertz refresh rate, according to the tvOS 14.5 beta code. Apple is working on a new version of the Apple TV, which is good news. We talked about the new remote that they were also working on last time. They're saying it could feature 4K 120 hertz video output. The evidence was found in the TV's OS 14.5 beta code that was on by 9to5 Mac, and listed multiple instances of 120 hertz. It supports 120 hertz in the code. So as with the 120 refresh rate on the iPad Pro models, they're saying that the refresh rate mode on the Apple TV would allow for smoother performance on 120 hertz TVs. And not everybody has these TVs, so who knows if that was even be worth anything here. So as far even having them, but it's good news at least to hear that there is going to be a new Apple TV. We're going to find out hopefully soon if something happens. What do you think of this?
I don't know if it's in the notes. Oh yeah, the last thing we're going to talk about is the Apple Arcade getting more titles. Yeah, so
we'll talk about
I'm going to tie that into the Apple TV because, again, the Apple TV could be a gaming alternative device. And the more they spec it up, the more it's possible that they're going to, promote it more as a gaming hybrid smart TV kind of thing, which would be, I'm surprised I haven't done it already. I just feel like there were so many opportunities with gaming. Especially because people could use like their iPhones as controllers, and you could do, trivia games and so many things that you could do that they never did. But yeah, they're going to ramp it up, and I don't know how much better it's going to be for the apps and for the picture, but I think the more powerful is going to be targeting games.
Yeah, and really, that's probably a good point. Trying to make it. Is it going to be a gaming type device like an Xbox or a PlayStation, to justify the price? Because again, we've had this debate before. You can go buy a TV device, like Roku and Fire TV and all them, and it's like half the price. So I think Apple really has to come up with a justification. Is this Apple TV going to be worth what they want to charge for it? Because Apple's not going to under lowball pricing of what they've been charging for all these years. I'd be very surprised about that.
Well, they keep improving it. So, I mean, if they, there was always rumors that they might come out with like an Apple TV stick, kind of like a Roku stick, right, something smaller. Hell, you could even probably put like some kind of AirPlay 2 stick device in there and like, AirPlay it from, maybe if this iPad with the screen ever comes out, like they're talking about, I could see them having the iPad with a screen, and then they sell like a thing that goes into your TV, that will kind of give you the Apple TV experience without the Apple TV. So there's a lot of things they could do for a cheaper option for Apple TV that they never really did. So that, this article makes it sound like they're putting more into it rather than making it cheaper. And yeah, they'll charge us for it.
Yeah. So definitely gonna be interesting. We'll see where it goes here. And let's move on. And in fact, let's move on and talk about Apple Arcade. That hit last week. I blinked. It happened. Actually hit a couple days ago here that Apple Arcade got a massive expansion with 30 new games, including some hit iOS classics and more. They had gotten a big wave of new games. So we're over 30 new titles, and a couple of them that really stood out to me was the NBA 2K21, which I haven't really checked out yet, but that's a great one. There's a Star Trek one that was out, but the Oregon Trail. Everybody remembers playing the Oregon Trail, and I was pretty impressed with this game. That's part of it, arcade, and I remember playing Oregon Trail back in the old days of the Apple II with just text based gameplay and the old type graphics, but they've always got some of the classic games like chess and checkers and backgammon and all that stuff. But Apple had a press release about this and decided to really step it up here, which is great. So that really is going to bring some excitement to Apple Arcade, because as far as I was concerned, I'm not a big gamer as it is, and I didn't think too many were too excited about it. So what did you think of this?
Yeah, it was a nice surprise. I woke up one morning and I heard about it, and I downloaded a few of them. I like song. It's not song pop. Maybe it is song pop. There's a name that tune kind of thing that I'm into, and I used to play it all the time, but they used to push ads on me all the time. So now I play it without the ads, which is really nice. Downloaded a few other games so far, and it's a good start. I wouldn't say it's the end of all end of things, but it's definitely a good start.
It is a good start. Got some excitement.
I don't remember playing the Oregon Trail. I remember playing Dope Wars, Drug Wars. You remember that one where you had to? Yeah. You were like a drug dealer. It was turn based on text. That's what I remember. But yeah, no, I'll definitely keep looking for things to download. I'm interested in. Actually, I did checkers. That's fun. Yep. And then I did one other one, but yeah, there's a lot of so they put in classics, they put in the new stuff like the NBA, and they and kind of like parlor games kind of thing. So yeah, it's all Fruit Ninja. That's a big one that's in there. So that one I downloaded that one too.
All right. And then next story of Mac Rumors, iOS 14 adoption is an estimated 90% less than 7 months after its launch. So less than 7 months after its launch, iOS and iPadOS 14 are now installed in an estimated 90% of all compatible iPhones and iPads, according to data collected by Mixpanel's adoption tracker. In February, they show a graph here. It was at 86%. Now, according to this next update, is up to 4% here. And iOS 14 was released in September of 2020 as a notable iOS upgrade, beginning with bringing the widgets, the home screen, the app library, a lot of huge system-wide changes. So I think that's really what motivated a lot of people, I would think, is the widgets, don't you think, when people went from iOS 13 to iOS 14?
Oh, yeah, people were definitely, my son, when it first came out, he's like, have you seen this? I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. He's like, everybody in my school is downloading the new update and doing this. So that definitely, definitely propelled it forward. The widgets were a big thing. Well, not much else. I don't remember anything else really being that huge on iOS 14.
No, the app library was a big thing.
That one.
And a new some UI changes that have made some big differences too. So, yeah, exciting. Yeah. And then if I transition over to the to this next article, iPhone 12 holds value over 20% better than the Samsung Galaxy S21 range. that just tells you that before I go into the article, that the adoption rate on Android OSs is all over the place because there's so many devices out there, and there's so many of them that can't even upgrade anymore. And that's that they have devices that are not maybe 3 or 4 years old. You can't update anymore. I mean, I have a Pixel 2 XL. It's end of the road. I can't upgrade anymore, and it's a perfectly good device. I mean, it's just like what Apple does with the 6S and the 7, and so it's good to see that Apple has just done a great job of adoption of their new OS. So, but with this article on the value of the Samsung S21 versus the iPhone, it's 20% better, despite having been on sale for considerably less time than the iPhone 12 lineup. Orders in late January of 2021, the Samsung Galaxy S21 series is failing to hold its value well as its main competitor. By measuring each handset's suggested retail price against its monthly and total depreciation based on the value of goods and used services, Sell was that company always is analyzing this stuff was able to precisely calculate it. It says the iPhone 12 range had lost value by 18 to 33% since its launch in October 2020. The Samsung S21 series, on the other hand, significantly depreciated between 44 and 57% since its launch in January of 2021. That's only, 4 months ago. So it goes through all the depreciation values and all that stuff, but I'm not all surprised. I mean, I went and tried to value just my 2XL, see if I could sell it. I'll get $30 for it. So it's crazy what the values are with the Android. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually surprised it's only 20% more because the Android devices, once they're used, they drop in value right away. Nobody wants to buy one. There's just so many. The problem with Android phones is there's just so many other cheap brand new ones that you can buy to replace it. That's going to be faster and better anyway. So, where the iPhones kind of, they do get better every year. It's still, it's still good enough where people will spend that money to get an older iPhone, where an older Android phone is just not good enough. It's, again, it loses its software updates. It becomes slow. Like you, I have a Galaxy Tab phone, tablet that I bought for it's like $150. Not even a year ago, maybe about a year ago.
It's down the road.
It's good. Well, it's getting the updates, but it's slow as hell. I mean, all this, it's just terribly slow. So, yeah. I mean, I have trouble giving that thing away at this point, so I'm just going to hold on to it.
I think I have an old one sitting in a drawer somewhere from like a number of years ago that it's probably, I don't even know what version of Android it is, but actually it was pretty zippy. It was a Samsung one. It's way out of date. I had a Sony Xperia tablet when I lived in London. You can't get them here so much. That thing was a beast though. It was beautiful screen. It was pretty fast. It was waterproof. It was like the only tablet I've ever seen that was waterproof. You could actually take it in the bath and shower and the bowls with you. But for the most part, they're all kind of junk. I've owned a lot of them, and most of them are junk. But that's we are. We love our tech.
Even the junky ones.
Yes, exactly. Next story. The Find My new third-party accessory support that has now come out, and pretty exciting. Apple did announce on the Find My network it will support third-party devices and Mac rumors. They announced this actually just yesterday as we record this. Apple announced today the launch of its Find My network accessory program, which is designed to allow third-party Bluetooth devices to be tracked in the Find My app right alongside your Apple devices. According to Apple, the first accessory companies that are going to take advantage of this new Find My integration includes Belkin, no surprise, Chipolo, and Van Moof, with devices set to be available beginning next week as we record this. So I know we talked about this with Belkin's Soundform Freedom True Wireless Earbuds. I did a review of those from CES. So
basically what it is. Apple does have a strict set of rules that all these devices have to follow, including adhering all the privacy protections of the Find My network. And the devices will be there. It'll have lost mode. It'll notify you if it's found. All that same stuff. What do you think of this? I think this is pretty game changing. I think Apple is smart with this.
Yeah. By the way, it's not Chipotle.
Did I say Chipotle? No, I didn't say Chipotle. No, okay. I was like, what? I didn't say that.
A lot of the first time I read it. The first time I read it was a Chipotle. Actually, I had a Chipotle tracker once. I reviewed it once for it came in a wallet or something, but it's cool. Anyhow, yeah, I mean, it's going to be nice to have other companies be able to do it. It also makes you wonder what AirTags are going to have that's different than what these other things are going to do. Like, what's going to separate a Chipotle from an AirTag at this point? So, we'll see where that goes. I'm looking forward to the trackers. At least because I could think of a bunch of things I would like to put one on. We hope the uses the ultra wideband. Is that what it is? That the
U1 chip, yeah.
The U1 chip. So it uses, the feeling is if there's enough devices out there with a U1 chip, then if that device gets near one of them, it will track it. So hopefully it catches on. I've used Tile, and it's okay, but if it's in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to get a signal on it, and that's the problem with it. You have to be kind of close to see where you're going. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, got a couple links to other articles I won't go into depth with, but one thing is that third-party support with Find My is going to work with iOS 14.3 and later, so you'll be able to use older version of iOS. You won't have to wait till the beta 14.5. And again, we just talked about this. Now all these third-party devices can access the U1 chip. What that U1 chip is going to give the device is going to give a much more exact accuracy of location, because the U1 chip does do a better job of location and being able to find devices. That's usually the U1 chipping is included on the iPhone 11, and it's also included on the iPhone 12. So it's the relatively newer iPhones that have that. So, but no, some exciting stuff here. So I'm very excited. And last story here, I just wanted to mention this too. I thought was kind of cool. Is T-Mobile had launched its unlimited 5G home internet for $60 a month. I actually tested the 4G, and granted, it worked pretty good. I thought it was impressive enough. I thought it was a good service, but I couldn't justify spending I think it was $50 a month for 4G when I'm getting 40 and 50 meg speeds. So they're saying it's going to be available to about 30 million Americans across the United States and in rural areas. So it all depends on what the 5G coverage is. So if it doesn't have you don't have 5G available, you would step down to 4G. But of course, you'll still pay that. They're promising average speeds of about 100 megabits for most customers. And I'd be curious to see if it's up and down. Probably not. I'm sure up is going to be a lot slower than down will be. But you can go to visit T-Mobile's website to see if you're eligible and if it's available. So that was pretty exciting too. Also in this article, they actually talked about too is what do you think? I mean, I think it's an interesting service for someone who doesn't want to have to be locked to somebody like Comcast or somebody else.
Well, I think it's going to be more for people that can't get good internet service. It's going to be for people that were using satellite or didn't have anything before that. So. Hopefully, that's a good price. It's not, I think you could get Comcast or Fios basic for probably cheaper than that. So, or about the same at least. So, if it's fast enough and they keep that price, and I could see it being useful in a lot of other places, like maybe like a beach home, or maybe even I'm thinking like a vacation trailer, kind of something that moves. I don't know. It's interesting. Listen, it's never a bad thing to have 5G in a pocket somewhere, and able to move it. Yeah. So, at least it's not like poor Verizon. Did you see the story that came out just today? Verizon recalls 2.5 million hotspots.
Oh yeah. I just saw that. Yeah. Because they burn up or something, or
yeah. Somebody replied on the article. Well, it is a hotspot. Is
that Mac to the Future did that? Oh my God!
No, Mac Rumors.
So Mac Rumors. Okay.
Posted our Mac Rumors, and somebody wrote that, and then they're all kind of Samsung did it first. I like that one too.
Yeah. Yep. And then they did add another piece of this article that people didn't notice if you didn't go all the way down the bottom, read it, that T-Mobile also today, this was actually today as we record this, announced a trade-in program for a free iPhone 12 with the trade-in of a iPhone 11, or half off of iPhone 12 with the trade-in of an older iPhone model ranging from a iPhone 7 to an iPhone 10, and half off the iPhone 12 mini with the trade-in of any older iPhone. Trade-in compensation, of course, usually works with T-Mobile is 24 monthly bill credits, so you're not going to get the whole chunk all at once there. So another exciting thing. I think they're doing good things with T-Mobile. They're also upgrading their unlimited plans for T-Mobile and the old Sprint customers for free, which is great. So yeah, the mobile industry is very, very competitive. There's no question about it. They're trying to get your business from you, and
I like them. I'm happy.
I'm very happy with T-Mobile. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
They've been good to me, so I can't complain one bit. So, all right, let's go jump into the topics of this week. And as we always talk about beta, another version just came out. I think that was this yesterday as we record. iOS 14.5 beta 7. They seeded that. Didn't notice one gosh darn thing that was different what it already has, other than probably some minor updates, right?
Yeah, at this point, Apple is just, I think, trolling us at this point.
That's right.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know whether to be like angry at them at this point, or like, just happy that I'm just on the beta program, because I would have gone nuts if I wasn't doing this. Just knowing that this is out there. I think by the time they actually roll this out, we're not going to be wearing masks anymore. So it's not going to matter. So
seems like it.
Yeah, we're getting close to it. So,
although the Tim Cook in an interview said when asked when 14.5 is going to come out, he says it's going to be coming out in a matter of weeks, and what that means, I have no idea.
It should have been like it's been like 2 or 3 months already on this thing, right? On the beta, it's been a while, at least 2 months.
Yeah,
it should have came out weeks ago.
I agree.
This is. I mean, I'm literally seeing no difference in the last 3 betas at all. So there must be something that nobody's notices, just or minor, something bad.
Yeah, usually the bloggers tend to find the differences. I don't see much.
Yep. It's just, at this point, it's just kind of like annoying more than I'm happy to get the beta update just to see if it improves something that I'm not noticing. But my poor son, like the whole story I told you where he got my old watch and I got the new one because my old watch was stuck on a beta. So my son's been stuck on this beta cycle because because the watch was updated. So I told him, I'm like, yeah, not too long they'll release this version and you'll be off of beta. And that was
a month or two ago.
That was longer than that. I mean,
3 months.
That's already was on like beta 3 or something at that point.
That's the longest they've ever gone, and I think a lot of it has to do with the privacy, which I want to talk about here in a bit here, because it's just interesting to see where this goes. I just don't understand it. I did link to another article on Apple does remind developers about the upcoming app tracking transparency enforcement. That the developers, hey, you got to be ready to be enforced when this launches. And I think so. And I'm pretty sure that's what's really stalling a lot of this is the resistance severity that they've been getting on this app tracking process. I would think that's where we're really at. Don't you think?
Something's holding it up. So this,
But I wanted to touch a little bit about it as we move off of beta here is and like we just been talking about when is 14.5 finally get released. I have a link in the article here. Actually, it's in the Wall Street Journal. Joanna Stern wrote this great article with Nicole Gwynn about iPhone apps asking to track you. answers to your iOS 14.5 privacy questions. And they did a really good write-up about this. And I like the opening of the article saying, allow the Sims to track your activity, allow Merriam-Webster to track your activity, allow the Wall Street Journal to track your activity. Welcome to the start of the iPhone and iPad privacy pop-up-alooza. So, the tracking is going to be an interesting thing. So now what they'll be doing is each time an app is installed for the first time, as well as when you go to the App Store, it's going to it already shows you in the App Store what they can share of your information if you allow it. And the pop-ups go on there. And I did a funny thing. There was another article I don't have linked here, but that showed the entire long list of what Facebook does. And it literally, if you would put it up on paper, it's got to be at least 4 pages of all the things that Facebook does. And then, I appreciate the fact that Apple is being vigilant enough to make sure that they have, they're looking out for their users and giving them the ability for us to opt out if we want to. I mean, I know your position on Facebook as far as, it's not a big deal as far as the privacy goes, but some people are not happy with it. So what do you think so far with what we talk about here with app security? I think it's...
So you're going to run into, reading fatigue. And I think that's going to be a problem. If these pop-ups come up all the time, whether you're installing Facebook or something that barely tracks your privacy but still has a pop-up, because they're all going to have pop-ups. Users are just going to most users are just going to say always allow at this point, because they're just not going to feel like going through the list to answer it unless they're specifically concerned about it, an app or something like that. I've been in apps that you would never think would need access to things, but once in a while you'll say this app needs your location, do you want to allow it? And I'm like, why does this need my location? But, generally I'll just say yes, because maybe it does, So I think when macOS had a problem where it was popping up a lot, I think in one of the versions, I forgot which one it was popping up with a lot of notifications. People were complaining about that. So I think you get the notification fatigue, and they have to be careful with that.
Yeah, I agree. That's really what the issue is going to be. They put a grid here just showing how things what kind of a workflow, showing what data is collected, how it gets processed, or the device ID, the contact info, the purchase history. A social app will have device info, device ID, contact info, location of device, app search history, apps usage data. And so they did an interesting thing of showing the disclosure of that. And then you got to wonder, you're going to always wonder why you're getting these pop-ups, but that's the reason you're getting them, is giving the option. I mean, once you opt in or opt out, it shouldn't bother you. Again, you can allow or ask app not to track. And again, like we mentioned, Apple does build itself as a commitment to user privacy. They put it even harder in, like we've talked about this before, the Safari web browser, where it tracks people in the Safari web browser, where it does do a very good job of telling you what trackers are being used. Go to CNN to see how many trackers are on with all the advertising that they do, and you have that ability too, don't you? I'm sure you agree with that with the browser, right?
Yeah, and just a little known fact, all major browsers let you turn that on somewhere. There's settings everywhere to let you know if you're being tracked or not. So, people say, Chrome is so insecure and Edge is better and whatever. They all do have that option. If you dig into it, it says, warn me if I'm being tracked. So, just a little FYI on that.
And there's a good quote in here, too, from the late Steve Jobs. He said this back in 2010 at the All Things Digital Conference. I believe some people want to share more data than other people do. Ask them. So I think that really kind of probably started the inspiration of this happening.
Yeah, and again, a lot of people also think if I don't say allow, it's not going to work right. Or the app is not going to function the way it's supposed to function. And that may be the case. So, we'll find out when people start opting out of some of these, things. is that going to change the behavior of the application? Like if you opt out of Facebook, a lot of these things on Facebook, is it going to be a whole different experience than it was if maybe it's a better experience, but maybe not. Maybe it doesn't know who you are anymore. I don't know who you are anymore, man. I can't help you. I can't tell you what you want to hear.
The good thing is going to be is when you go in 14.5, when you go into privacy, you'll be able to go into tracking and be able to turn on. There's a list to allow apps to request to track. You can turn it all on and then individually turn off ones you don't want to track, or you can just turn them all on and then just don't even think about it. So, you will have options to go back and turn on later if you turn them back on later if you so choose. So, but like you said, no one's going to really know. You tap allow, and it's going to be business as usual. I mean, you're going to be able to do what you're going to do, and you probably won't notice anything when you do it. So, I just can't see that being anything different. And I think it's a good thing, in my opinion.
Yep,
any closing thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I've never been against apps, companies telling you what they're collecting. I mean, that's always a good thing. What I have more concern about is, understanding of what they're collecting and understanding if it's a harmful thing that they're collecting or if it's not, and, the reasoning. And the big thing I come back to is the advertising. For the most part, they use, tracking to advertise. I mean, that's where the money is. They want to sell you things. There's no, unless they're selling things that they don't want, security numbers and credit cards, legal things. That's what it is. It's 99% advertising. So if you opt out of that, then that's going to affect the ads you see and things like that. So if that's your thing, then go for it.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's move on. Next topic is, I try not to talk too much about rumored products. I mean, we mention it, but I think there's pretty solid evidence at this point that there's going to be new iPads coming out soon. And found an interesting article on Mac Rumors about this. Actually, was released today as we record. A leaked dummy units show the iPad Mini 6 with thick bezels and a home button and new iPad Pro models. And this is the famous tech leaker. All the leakers are out on Twitter, and they have a picture showing comparisons between the three models of the Pro, the iPad Mini, the Pro 11, and the Pro 12.9. There's seeing really, I think what really stands out from the previous model is the home button and the thick bezel that are on the top and bottom. I think that this is interesting to know. At least now we know that there is going to, at least we think, based on rumors here, that there will be a new iPad Mini. I think that's a smart thing, and they're saying that the screen size is going to be something like 8.4 inches, and I think that's the biggest. If that is true, that's the biggest iPad Mini that's ever been made. So maybe we'll have some exciting things that we trade in iPads here. What do you think of this? I think this is interesting.
I've been always wanting a iPad Mini that looks like the new iPad Pro, but there's good and bad to it, and I think the hard part is it's hard to hold something that small with no bezels. I think that's been said a few times. I love my iPad Minis. I've had them all. I actually sold my 5 because I couldn't justify I barely used the Pro, so I didn't need the 2 of them. I initially actually bought the Mini because you could put it in a holder and fly your drone with it, but I never did that either. But yeah, I mean, if they came out with a 8-inch Mini with thinner bezels and Face ID, I would buy that. I don't know if I would buy another one that looks kind of exactly the same as the old ones at this point.
Yeah, according to that picture, that iPad Mini looks exactly the same with the home button and the thick bezel. If you look at the other picture of it on the glass side, the Pros look pretty much the same.
Yeah. But I see the back of the Mini that looks pretty much the same, and the front looks pretty much the same. So, Yeah, I mean it's a good device, but I think it's dated. I think it's very outdated.
Yeah.
The looks of it, and a mini with like a nice OLED screen, that'd be awesome. I would love that.
And then rumors are saying that the A14X processor would be in these iPad Pros, which is quote unquote on par to the M1 that's in the MacBook Air Pro and Mini. But with better cameras. And they're saying the mini LED display, that was the discussion too, that was giving them even more extreme brightness on the display. Should be interesting. And also rumor too is a potential Thunderbolt connector that would make it even more compatible with external monitors, hard drives, and peripherals. That would be, instead of just a standard USB-C, it's an actual Thunderbolt connector in the iPad.
Yeah, I mean, probably with you, unless they like really change something else with the iPad Pro. Like the Thunderbolt connector doesn't interest me too much. The faster processor doesn't really interest me too much because I barely use the processor power that I have in a Pro.
Right.
If it looked nicer, the display, that would interest me. I think, that because that's always something you notice right away.
Yeah.
But I mean, the iPad Pro has hit some kind of plateau. I think where it's just so good that it's it's hard to improve on it right now. That you really have to almost come up with a whole different design or something that really is going to make you want to replace a 2008 or 2018 iPad Pro.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sporting as a second iPad. I have the iPad Pro first generation that had the Lightning connector, and that's still a pretty perfectly good iPad. I mean, it's still pretty fast, and I've been running beta on it for a long time. It only has 32 gigs of space, so that's pretty limited. But these iPads in that generation have been pretty decent. For the most part.
And the new Air, which is just like this, almost the same as the iPad Pro. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, again, there's not that much. I say this all the time, and they always prove me wrong. But there's not much you can improve it. I can't. You could visualize improvements with like an iMac and some other things. You could see what they could do differently, but I can't even visualize what they could possibly change on the iPad Pros at this point.
Yeah,
hopefully they prove us wrong.
I agree. And rumors are saying that there's supposed to be an event this month in April, but it's interesting. A lot of very different this year with Apple with this kind of stuff. Will they do it as a press release or will they do it as an event? We don't know, but we're hoping to see these iPads soon. Along, like we mentioned earlier about the AirTags, that's been rumored for. I think we're getting close to 2 years on this now. at least it seems like it is.
We're going to get it with iOS 14.5 in a couple months.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to something. I mean, it's the last time they actually put something out. They had that big streak last year with those 3 events right in a row, and that was it. So it's time for something new.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Another topic here. Warren, you said you dabbled into some NFC tags, and of course you own a Tesla, and Tesla isn't very Apple friendly as you wish it was. It has a nice big screen on your dashboard. It's about the size of a 13-inch iPad, but very limited of anything related to Apple, and it doesn't do CarPlay, doesn't do all that stuff. So you dabbled the NFC tags to see what it could do for you. Why don't you first off just tell people what is an NFC tag? What is it? What does it do?
So an NFC tag is basically, they could be a sticker or they could be like a little bit thicker of that, or it could actually be on almost anything that you can tap an NFC compatible reading device, and an iPhone is one, to it, and it will read the information off the tag to just identify it. And then from there, you could assign that tag to do things. And with the iPhone, what you're doing is you're assigning a series shortcuts to an NFC tag. So basically, you could get an NFC tag, scan it, assign it to an action with a shortcut, And then from there, all you have to do is tap your phone to the sticker and it'll run a shortcut. The stickers themselves are fairly cheap. They come in different sizes and shapes and colors. But you could get like a 12 pack of stickers for like $10. So it's really not that much. So the way I use it is the Tesla makes you spend $300 to get a garage door opener built into your car.
Crazy.
And to be fair, it's like a super garage door opener. It knows it opens when you come home. It opens when you leave. It knows how to do all the things. So, I'm here thinking, I don't have to, I have my garage is hooked up to Wi-Fi. My car, is hooked up to Wi-Fi. My phone, everything is connected to the internet. There's got to be a way for me to open and close the garage without, paying this. So basically, I bought a couple of NFC tags and made this series shortcuts to open and close my garage. And I put two stickers in my car, one to open it, one to close it. And all I have to do is tap my phone to those stickers, which is pretty easy, and it does. It works for that. So then I start thinking, what else can I do with these stickers? So that's what I've been thinking about doing. Last week we talked about changing shortcuts. So I have a sticker now that will change my shortcut if I just tap it, which is kind of neat too. So I've also been playing with Homebridge, and what Homebridge is a program you can install on a variety of computers, which are either a Mac, a Raspberry Pi, Windows computer.
Getting very geeky here.
Yeah, we're getting a little geeky, but in a nutshell, what it does is it bridges HomeKit devices that are not compatible. It bridges devices that are non-HomeKit compatible to kind of work with HomeKit, and it does it kind of in a geeky way where it, pretty much uses that computer as a in between of the two devices to translate the code, and it's works. Sometimes it's flaky. It really makes me really want Tesla, Apple to have more HomeKit devices, because so many things you could do. So I hooked up my Tesla doesn't have any kind of HomeKit support, but there is a Tesla API for the Homebridge that I put in there. And now from my phone, I'm able to do a lot of things with the Siri. I could open up my trunk. I could open up my doors. I could start to climb in, all that things that I couldn't do before. But as I said, it's flaky. It started waking up my Tesla every minute and sending notifications. And when you have HomeKit set up with a family, everybody gets notifications. So it kept waking up my Tesla, and then the whole family was getting notifications. So I had to turn it off. So it's got issues, but between the Homebridge and the NFC stickers, it's kind of a new world. You could really get into a lot of things, but Homebridge out of it, the stickers, the NFC tags are really simple. You don't need to be a tech. You go out to Amazon, you do a search for NFC tags or stickers, get like a 10-pack, and basically it walks you right through. You go to Siri shortcut, create a new shortcut, and it's going to ask what the automation is. If you scroll down, it actually, I misspoke. It's not under shortcuts. It's tab over automations is what you have to do.
Right, automations.
So you go under automations, you go under personal automations, you scroll to the bottom, you say NFC tag. You click on it. It says, okay, scan the tag now. You're going to scan it. You give it a name, and then that's it from then. And then you just add your actions to it. So and it's not bad. I find it better sometimes than saying, there's like times where you don't want to say, hey, S lady, right. Which, if you're in the car and somebody's with you, you don't want to really, that's kind of, it's not coop. What's the word? Coop. It's not cool to kind of say, hey, SE sometimes to when you're driving. Yeah. So I like to text that situation. So,
So, it's just interesting why Tesla just won't gonna give into that. There's just so many people who have iPhones these days that I know, and it's Elon Musk, and he just wants to keep control of things.
You hear different stories. I mean, Elon Musk said he tried to call Tim Cook and get some, ask him to buy the company, and Tim Cook never returned a call, from what Elon said. And then Tim Cook says he didn't say anything about it, but he says he respects Elon. It would have to be totally ripped from the ground up, because the Tesla system is so integrated in itself that it would be almost with autopilot on the level of dangerous to kind of integrate it at this point. Because again, the way auto drives, is based on a lot of things that it knows about the maps and its location, and to change all that would be a pain. But with that said, I am jealous of you with your upcoming CarPlay, because that is
I'm excited to
nice.
to talk about it with everybody, and that was more of the motivating factor of anything. Is just I've been just itching for the technology. My car was a 2011. Anyways, I have Dodge Charger, so technology's old. It really is. I mean, Uconnect is actually a pretty decent interface, considering. I've seen it in other cars like GM and Ford, and they've gotten smarter, and now they're including CarPlay. They just couldn't resist. So this one's also going to have Android Auto too. So I may even dabble into both to see how they compare, and that's going to be kind of cool. I can do that because I can do Android Auto and CarPlay on this. I've
seen that where they're both integrated together. Well, definitely let us know. I mean, to be fair, the Tesla system is not bad. It's a good, it's good. It's really good, but it's no CarPlay.
Absolutely. So what we have left here is some tips. I wanted to talk about a couple tips here I found in the camera. In iOS 14, Apple did change the shutter release. So if you remember before, you used to be able to tap and hold the shutter button on the face of the iPhone, and you'd be able to do a burst shots, and just hold it and go and take the pictures. Well, you can't do that anymore. It got hidden somewhere. So what you can do with burst, if you go to the photo mode and you don't tap on it, you just touch it and slide it over to the right, to the left. Without tapping, and then you're going to see the countdown on the button. So you can slide over to the left, and then just hold it there, and you can do a bunch of burst photos as you're taking it. So you just swipe it over. So I thought that was a kind of a cool thing. And then another tip is saving you from on video without having to actually spend the time to toggle over to the video mode and then start doing your video. You can do it so you can stay in photo mode. Of course, I always recommend you got to go in landscape mode when you take a picture of a video, because how awful it looks when people are, and people always are filming in portrait mode, and then you see it on TV when they have the blurred edges of it because it's in the bad mode. So then what you do is you don't tap it, you slide the button to the right, and then it's going to start recording video. So then once it does that, it records, and then when you're done, you just slide it back, and then it stops recording video. And it's all in one place. So you don't have to be switching modes all the time. So then when you're taking pictures, you might want to have the option to be able to be recording video and then photos all at the same time. Now, of course, when you're in video mode, it does have the button there that gives you the option to take pictures while you're doing video if you so choose. So it has that too. So I think those two tips just stand out some of the flexibility of the camera app and how powerful it really is. People like to look at other third-party apps, and there's plenty of them out there that take pictures and do different things. That Filmic Pro is a good example for video, and Filmic Pro is a really advanced video app. So definitely interesting to see how that goes. So did you ever know those tips? I don't know if you knew about those. No, I definitely have not. I need to brush up on my video and photo taking skills as it is. So I think that it'll make things a lot easier when you're taking photos and taking videos for that matter. The second tip I have here is, and I completely forgot about this. There is a built-in code reader, and they added. I don't know if it was in iOS 13 or iOS 14. The ability of being able to read a QR code. Now, of course, you can use the camera and go up to a QR code and then it sees it, and then it'll just automatically, go to the website or wherever you're going, and what the QR code does. But there is an app built in that you can get to, and you can get to it in two ways. If you do a swipe down on one of the home pages and then start typing in code, then the code scanner app will start showing up. Now, you cannot bookmark this app. You can't put it anywhere on a home screen. So that's one way of getting to it. And then you tap it, and of course, it's got the normal code scanner, so it just codes and scans it, and it's got a built-in flashlight, so it'll light it up, so it's easy to see. But the other place you can do is you can actually put it in Control Center. If you go into Settings, and then if you go into Control Center, it does have the option as one of the added controls that you can add the code scanner. You just push the plus, brings it up to the menu there, so that it's there on the menu. Then if you go up, scroll down to Control Center on the iPhone, on the newer phones with the Face ID, you swipe it up from the right down. On the older phones, you swipe from the bottom, and then you have that code scanner ready to go. You just tap it, and it'll open it up, and you get that app. So, I think those are two.
It's useful if you've been to a restaurant in the last couple months. They don't have menus, or most of them don't. They have a QR code to scan at the table to get the menus. So a lot of people are learning about QR codes that didn't necessarily know about them before.
And then with app clips, that's the big thing now. Of course, we've talked about that before. Going places like Panera Bread, where you can order things right from an app clip, not have the app installed, is also a big thing too. So I think it's really cool. So. Yep. All righty. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about, we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. Does that sound good to you?
It turned out to be a lot of things going on this week.
It sure did. Yeah. So then that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others, including Odyssey. They changed their name from radio.com to Odyssey. We're on there still. We moved over, so you can listen to us on there. But the best place to go is just go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. And Warren, thanks for being here. Was anything going on with Mac in the future this week? We didn't do a podcast yesterday with a guy, so this has been a light podcast week.
Yes, I only did the one, so I'm good this week. Just good conversations like usual. Nobody's saying anything out of the ordinary. But,
people buying new M1s and getting excited about it. And
yeah, we get at least one or two a week of somebody saying, should I do this and this for work, and should I get the M1? And, generally the answer is outstanding yes. For the most part, nobody really says no. Yeah, there's nothing bad about it. So, do that.
It's a great group to join. It's on Facebook, Mac to the Future. Just go into Facebook, search for it, come join us. I'm at like 4,000 members now, I think it is now. It's gone way up.
We get a few every day. We get a few more, so come join us.
So it's a good group. Come check us out, and we have a lot of fun here. So, I appreciate everybody listening here. We really appreciate you listening, and hope you enjoy the show, because we enjoy doing it. And we'll talk again soon.